In today's video, we're trying to win the Australian Grand Prix driving as Lewis Hamilton in Ferrari. We've started an all-new career mode save on F1 24 and simulated all the way through to Season 2, 2025 in-game, done the negotiation, signed for Ferrari as Lewis Hamilton, and we're ready to start this brand new career mode season, but we've only got one task in mind, is trying to win this first race, because you only get Lewis Hamilton debuting for Ferrari once, and so let's try and make this a great one, at least in the game. Speaking of actually only seeing Lewis Hamilton debuting in Ferrari once, as I post this video, if I am correct, this will be on the eve of the Australian Grand Prix IRL. We would have had qualifying earlier today, but I'm recording this as I check my phone on the 1st of March. Well ahead of when I'm posting this video, because I'm actually out there right now in Melbourne for the Grand Prix to see this debut with my own two eyes. But yeah, I'm recording this so far in advance, so by the end of the video, if there's any funny business of me correctly getting the qualifying grid correct, let's say, or the race result after Sunday's over, then come back to this video and let me know, because this will be a madness if I end up getting some things correct. But one thing we're going to try at least do is win this entire thing driving as Hamilton. Whether or not that happens in real life is another thing, but first and foremost, we have to qualify well to try and set ourselves up. This is inside of a career mode, so this Ferrari does have a couple of upgrades to it, which we'll get to in a moment at the end of quali and show you the R&D chart. This is a full Lewis Hamilton career save, but we're simply just playing the first race. But who knows, if you guys enjoyed enough, I can maybe continue this specific career mode as Hamilton in the Ferrari. But right now, we're in third place. Leclerc has just pipped us. Lando Norris, shock horror, on for provisional pole in that very quick McLaren. Piastri up there as well, splitting us. It was a checkerboard of McLaren Ferrari before, but I think we've just leapfrogged Oscar Piastri, the home favourite, to get back to third place. But it will be Leclerc, who is just marginally ahead of us, but then it's a dominant display from Lando Norris in the McLaren on pole position. Max Verstappen in P5 in this career mode save. Obviously, it is F1 24, so there are limitations with the driver transfers, so it's still Perez in the Red Bull, for example. In the Mercedes, it's Carlos Sainz, actually, so the game decided Sainz would go to Merc as one of the rumours, obviously, in real life, you know, this time last year, I suppose. That's come to fruition here in the game, and it's Teo Porcher and the Williams, etc., etc. You guys know how career mode and transfers work. Anyway, I digress. Third place, not too bad. Maybe a little bit ominous of how quick Lando there is in pole position, but I am quietly confident about the race pace of this Ferrari, because this was actually before we loaded in to round one. This is the R&D screen, a massive upgrade, and the R&D chart shows us as the best team on paper, having saved up a lot of R&D from Season 1, simulating to here, 2025 in-game. So, on paper, we should have what it takes, but clearly, it's a different story in reality. Lando's going to be quick. You've also maybe got Red Bull in there with the slipstream on this game. You just never know as well. But let's go to the grid for the Australian Grand Prix.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal, and it's make or break here at round one of this year's Formula One World Championship.
This is always such an exciting time in the season. First of all, it's the first time they'll be racing their new cars. So that's always an exciting thing for drivers to look forward to. But also, they've had a long time off during the winter break, so it's about dusting the cobwebs off, getting the rust off of their bones, and really getting their elbows out there and having some fun.
Radio check.
Loud and clear, Lewis. We've only got eyes for ahead. P1, that is the task today. It's going to be tough, you know. Career mode Season 2 this is, so compared to my normal career mode series, you know, the main one, the tyre wear levels are very different. It is pretty much a nailed-on two-stop, I believe, with every single team, and it's going to be a case of really trying to protect the tyres and be easy on them. And obviously the Ferrari itself as a car maybe can be a little bit alive on the rear end, let's say, on this game. So let's just try and take it easy, bet into this race, get into a rhythm, and then ultimately try and go for the big prize as we go to 5 red lights here, down under for the Australian Grand Prix in 2025. Lights out, and we're underway. It's a slow getaway for the pole man. Leclerc on the right. Verstappen is on our left. Verstappen comes out of nowhere. Oh my word, what a dive from the Dutchman, the reigning world champion, showing us all the class that he's got, even in the inferior Red Bull here in this season. What a move. That's a triple overtake for P1. I was very surprised to see him on the left of me. We had to give him some room, otherwise would have had a crash. But I didn't know I was going to let him by to the point where he just steamrolled all of us. And now we're having a go at the McLaren. Leclerc is forced to contend with Piastri behind. We're contending with the other McLaren, and we're going to just get ahead in second place. Bit of an aggressive move on the outside, but needs must as we now chase after Verstappen. I did not think we were going to be saying that, but yep, Verstappen leads the way. Is it business as usual for the Dutchman? Well, we're going to go on the outside and try and get into the lead early, but we've been a bit too audacious there, dipping a tyre into the grass as we did it. There was actually a massive amount of understeer on that front end of our car. It's 3 abreast behind. Leclerc down the inside. He's actually pulled off maybe a double pass. No, not quite. Lando Norris will come back through, but Leclerc almost pulled off a double overtake, but that was a pretty scary shot looking behind me in the cockpit and seeing 3 cars all side by side, pretty much a meter behind my rear wing, ready to attack, as is Lando Norris coming through. He's got a little bit of damage, I think I could see there on the front wing, as we let Leclerc by, knowing that he had the better shot at making a move. A little bit of teamwork there with our brand new teammate in the other scarlet red car, because Leclerc had DRS, of course. We didn't. We were the sitting duck in that instance, but we've made the move on Norris elsewhere, because I think, yeah, he's got damage on the front wing. Maybe in that 3-wide battle that came about, or maybe turn 1 actually, is now it's a Ferrari v Ferrari affair for P1. I mean, it's a good problem to have, fighting with your teammate. And right now Leclerc really gunning for us. We're on the inside defending, and Leclerc is going to go around the outside. We lock up to not try and understeer into him. Neck and neck. It was oh so close through this second last corner, through the last. We've now got the run on him, but Leclerc has DRS because he was actually second behind us at the DRS line, and for now we're gonna have to just wait and bide our time. How dicey will this be if we get this in real life? I think the first time we see Leclerc v Hamilton in their respective Ferraris IRL is going to be quite a cagey one potentially, as they vie for that kind of power dynamic going in this team. Leclerc, it's his team, Hamilton stepping into it, but you got Hamilton as a 7-time world champion. You don't just bat that away easily in the case of Leclerc, so it's going to be very interesting how that develops as a teammate partnership. I mean, so far in testing, it's all looked pretty damn good and all smiles, and so far in this race, it is all looking good as well. We're maintaining the first and second, and even though the McLaren is there by half a second, he's not, massively pressurizing us. So right now, the inter-team battle is not hurting the race position we're in, but we need to keep monitoring that as Leclerc on the outside, wheel to wheel, quite literally, and it's a big amount of oversteer on the exit of turn 1, and now once again a drag race now down to the next right-hander, and now the McLaren is potentially a problem as we go for the late lunge to retake first, kind of reaffirm the racing line rather, as we were technically still in first place, but now the McLaren is right there. We need to be sensible about this, and indeed actually we're going to be so sensible, in fact we're going to actually bail out of this and come in and opt for some clean air. Now we come to a very contentious point for Ferrari, the pit stop. Please lads, please, the first Ferrari pit stop for Hamilton in the Australian Grand Prix. It's a good one. 2.3. I mean, it's not anything to write home about, but it's not a disaster. That is very, very good. The pressure was on for those mechanics, and it's all good. So now onto the hard compounded tyre, and oh no, we're going to come out maybe just ahead of Russell, our old teammate from last season. The Mercedes nearly goes for the move. Remember, we're on cold hard tyres. Even though his mediums are worn out, they're nice and warm, and that means Russell is able to go round there outside. We're struggling for grip as the hard tyres do take some time to rubber in always on the F1 game. And so Russell overtakes us in the Silver Arrow. We've got to try and overtake him because he's still going for another lap, for goodness sake. This is one thing that will definitely be very interesting and awkward if it happens IRL. Hamilton v Russell now in two different machines as we go down the inside. Russell, though, is still there. This is becoming an absolutely iconic little scrap as we're still trying to drag race each other down to this right-hander. But surely at some point we're going to have the advantage because eventually these hards will warm up and Russell, as his rear end just escapes him a little bit there, maybe is finally feeling the tyre wear. He is, because we've dropped him and he's going to be coming to the pit soon, as is everyone else, as we set a purple. But oh, the damage is done. George Russell, screw you, mate, screw you. Because of that fighting, we have come up behind Leclerc. We should be well ahead of him with the undercut we got, but now because of that fighting from the Mercedes, we've come out just behind our teammate. We should be multiple seconds ahead, and now we've got it all to do to overtake Leclerc, whilst we've got Verstappen quite literally 0.3 of a second behind as we go from the right to left, try and dummy Leclerc a little bit into that corner. He tightens up his own line, trying to look at where we are, and in the end it's a quite simple overtake on the left hand side. We're up into P4. We've got clean air ahead, but we are in now that we're now the leader of this DRS and slipstream train, which is going to be a problem for us as we deploy battery to try and get away. We move to the right to try and maybe change the racing line and just break the slipstream ever so slightly, but Leclerc will remain firm right on our tail. Verstappen is also right there, and you just get the sense that if there is an opening for Verstappen, he will go for it. Well, he's going to go for it on Leclerc because lap 17, we've opened up the taps and we've managed to break DRS. We really had to push quite hard though and do a little number on the tyre wear of these hard tyres, but I thought it was crucial to get that gap because now, you know, we're watching Leclerc and Verstappen fighting and swapping, and that's giving us a bit of breathing room. The gap is growing only because they're fighting, basically, because now at this point I've started to calm down on the banzai pushing. But the thing was, this entire time I was scratching my head about, are we actually doing a two-stop? Because everyone here is on hards. I have a feeling that everyone's actually just going to go to the end and be too stubborn to pull the trigger. And the problem for us is, if we pull the trigger for that second stop in our shoes, we will come out behind the McLarens, who are a bit slower in this race, it seems, fighting each other, but we would have to overtake them and then bridge the gap to these two, Leclerc and Verstappen. So it's it happens a lot in real life sometimes. The entire grid is just too stubborn with each other, and you all kind of just get lulled into a one less stop because no one wants to pull the trigger. And I think that's exactly what's happening here as Piastri overtakes Norris for home glory, maybe in the inter-team Papaya battle. But McLaren very much so in this race, not showing the kind of race pace I imagine they're going to be having IRL based off what we saw in testing. And we've had some fantastic pace, but that is now going to start slipping, as you can clearly see a huge opposite lock moment as the tyres are really starting to scream out. And I am a little bit irked that this entire grid is going to stubbornly walk into a one stop, because I was really ready for the second stop. I needed it because in hindsight I pushed way too hard on lap 15 to 17 to get that gap, because now I'm feeling the pain on the tyre wear, and because we're going to the end, these guys, even though they're swapping, they've kept their tyres in check. They didn't have that massive push I did, and they are catching me rapidly, because at this point I should have been on another set of mediums or even a set of very quick soft tyres coming through, but the gap isn't there. I'll have to do so much work to come back through and overtake two McLarens before even just getting to these two again as they continue to squabble. Leclerc, nice move round the outside, really close to making a little bit of contact with Verstappen, who is trying his hardest to get this Red Bull onto maybe the second step on the podium. But to be honest, if I was him, I would just be sticking with Leclerc because he can save battery behind him and just constantly get DRS. But I had the same thought of, you know, Verstappen's in a better position being behind him, and we need to help out our teammate and also help our race. And so we've taken a leaf out of the book of the man we've replaced in this Ferrari. Carlos Sainz, remember, 2023 it was at the Singapore Grand Prix, giving Lando DRS to aid his race win. We are doing that with Leclerc. We drop back on purpose to give him DRS so that we can both remain ahead of the Red Bull, keep this Ferrari 1-2. This has become a secondary objective for me as we don't put up much of a fight on Leclerc, knowing he will overtake with the DRS there, but we're going to remain in second place. It's going to be a bit close though, because you may have seen on that bottom right, we've got very little battery, so Verstappen is coming for it. We go defensive to the inside. Verstappen's got us, but we come back with a real audacious lunge. That was needed. I feel if Verstappen completed that overtake, it was done. Our race win was over. Maybe even second place was over. But as long as we stick with Leclerc, have his DRS, I think we'll be okay. And I'm trying to play for the last minute overtake on Leclerc to get the race win. I think that's our best bet of getting the win, but also kind of a secondary objective that I formed in my head as we did this second stint in this race was, can we actually just get a 1-2 for Ferrari? I mean, that would be pretty epic as a secondary objective in this race. So we overtake Leclerc on lap 26, but as I said, we're not going to put up too much of a fight if he comes back at us. It's all about just swapping DRS, swapping till the end, but hopefully I'm going to be the last swap on the last lap. There's only two external variables that could ruin this for us. One is Leclerc not really playing ball with us and going too aggressive on one of the overtakes, and two is going to be Verstappen and how close he is, and it's going to come up right about now as Leclerc goes for the inside pass, and things are getting very close with him and Verstappen as Leclerc really leaves it quite late to close the door there, and we were kind of awkwardly trying to tuck in behind, and Verstappen is probably as close as he ever has been. But we are here now on the last lap, and we're looking for that final pass as we go into Sector 2. We've done really well, and Verstappen is actually falling away. He's lost DRS, so surely the Ferrari 1-2 is guaranteed. But can we get the Australian 2025 Grand Prix win with Lewis Hamilton driving in his new Ferrari? We pull through on the left, tyre on the grass. It's all a bit dramatic in the final sector, but we've played it like 4D chess. We've waited for the right time, the right moment to make the overtake, and so we'll maintain the 1-2 for Ferrari down under, and we will get the win for Lewis Hamilton. But it's going to be oh so close. Look at Leclerc, Jesus.
Fantastic job, guys. Fantastic.
He nearly got that. That was unbelievable. Leclerc's AI absolutely dumped the battery on that main straight and nearly got us. It was almost basically a photo finish at the end there, but there we have it. I mean, what a sight. Lewis Hamilton, yellow helmet, red overalls, pointing to the sky. Number one, P1 for us here down under. Whether it's anything like this tomorrow in the real life Australian Grand Prix remains to be seen. But guys, if you have enjoyed this one, then be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And like I said, come back to this video and let me know how well we did or didn't do in terms of predictions as I record this 2 weeks before the actual time of posting this video and before the Australian Grand Prix. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.